Most people think Russia fears tanks or fighter jets or another shipment of Western artillery. But analysts who have been studying this war since 2022 say that Russia's greatest concern is not a piece of hardware you can point to or photograph. It is something more adaptive, more elusive, and far more transformative. It is the rise of precision, the growing ability to identify a target, verify it through multiple layers of intelligence, and strike it with accuracy that changes the entire logic of the battlefield. And according to military experts across Europe and North America, this shift has reshaped Russia's strategic environment more than any single weapon ever could. This is not hype, it is something that has been documented in independent satellite imagery, in open source reporting, and in the way Russian forces have changed their behavior over the last 2 years. What Russia fears most is not a missile. It is an ecosystem, a network of Western and Ukrainian intelligence, drones, sensors, software, artillery, and precision-guided munitions working together in a way that erodes the advantages Russia spent decades building. It is the weapon that is not one weapon at all. To understand why precision matters so much, we need to rewind to the early months of the war. Throughout the spring of 2022, Russian forces were relying heavily on massed artillery fire. Western intelligence estimates at the time suggested that Russia was firing tens of thousands of shells per day. This was not a precision war. It was a war defined by volume. Russia believed that if it could maintain this pace, it could break Ukrainian defenses simply by overwhelming them. But this strategy had a weakness. It required enormous ammunition depots placed relatively close to the front lines. These depots were vulnerable to long-range strikes. The only reason Russia felt safe was because at that moment, Ukraine did not have the tools to reach them. That changed in the summer of 2022 when HIMARS entered the battlefield. These launchers, supplied by the United States, delivered a level of accuracy that Russia was not prepared for. The effect was visible immediately. Satellite imagery from commercial providers like Planet Labs confirmed that Russian ammunition depots started exploding with remarkable precision. Independent analysts noted that the size and intensity of these detonations indicated large ammunition stockpiles being hit. Russian commanders were forced to adapt. They relocated depots farther back. They dispersed their ammunition across larger areas. They attempted to hide storage sites in civilian infrastructure, which was condemned by international observers. But even with these adaptations, the pattern continued. When Ukraine identified a new depot, it could target it with surprising accuracy. This was the first signal to analysts that Russia was confronting something fundamentally new. It was no longer fighting only Ukrainian soldiers. It was fighting an integrated precision network supported by Western intelligence and Ukrainian reconnaissance. This network grew more powerful in October 2023 when Ukraine received ATACMS missiles. These missiles expanded the reach of Ukrainian forces dramatically. One of the most widely reported strikes occurred at Berdyansk airfield. Independent analysts and satellite images confirmed that multiple Russian helicopters were destroyed in that attack. The United States later confirmed that ATACMS had been supplied and used. The significance of these strikes is not simply the number of helicopters lost, it is the geography. These airfields were considered safe because of their distance. Russia believed its aircraft were out of range. ATACMS proved otherwise. As a result, Russia began relocating its aircraft deeper into occupied territory or even back into Russia, according to reporting from international news organizations that analyzed flight movements and satellite imagery. Storm Shadow and Scalp missiles supplied by the United Kingdom and France introduced yet another layer of complexity. These missiles are designed to fly low and avoid radar detection. The United Kingdom publicly confirmed that Storm Shadows were being used by Ukraine. Satellite images analyzed by Western think tanks showed that command posts, logistics hubs, and air defense sites in occupied territory had been struck. These strikes were not random. They were directed at high-value targets, and their success was due to both the accuracy of the missile and the intelligence that guided it. While these missiles were redefining long-range warfare on land, Ukraine was also transforming naval warfare. Ukrainian naval drones, including systems publicly identified by by Ukrainian officials were used in attacks on Russian naval vessels. These drones navigated through heavily defended waters to reach their targets. Independent footage and satellite imagery confirmed damage to multiple ships. Western naval analysts describe these attacks as pioneering examples of unmanned surface warfare. The effect was strategic. Russia repositioned portions of its Black Sea fleet away from high-risk areas. Ukraine's drone industry has grown rapidly. According to public statements by Ukrainian officials and reporting from international media, Ukraine now produces a wide range of unmanned systems. Some of these drones are designed for long-range missions deep into Russian territory. In early 2024, multiple Russian regions reported strikes on energy infrastructure, airfields, and industrial facilities. While the exact details of each strike vary, and not all incidents have been independently verified, satellite imagery from commercial providers confirmed that several of these sites suffered damage consistent with drone attacks. Analysts have noted that this trend illustrates Ukraine's growing ability to project power across long distances. This brings us to one of the most quietly important aspects of the war. Ukraine has been developing its own long-range strike capabilities. According to repeated public statements from Ukrainian officials, the country is working on new missile systems and expanding its domestic weapons production. Open-source analysts have discussed several names alongside these developments. Some of these refer to systems that have been referenced in media or OSINT circles but not officially confirmed. To avoid misinformation, it is more accurate to say that Ukraine is pursuing multiple long-range strike programs whose specifics are often classified. Independent experts argue that these programs could play a growing role in Ukraine's long-term military strategy, especially as the war continues. At this point, some viewers may wonder why Russian air defenses cannot fully counter these threats. The answer involves both physics and doctrine. Russian air defense systems like the S-300 and S-400 were designed decades ago to counter specific types of threats, primarily high-altitude aircraft or ballistic missiles. Analysts from respected think tanks such as the Center for Strategic and International Studies have explained that these systems can struggle against low-flying cruise missiles, small drones, and combinations of threats that saturate detection networks. Furthermore, analysts examining satellite imagery have identified several cases where Russian air defense installations were struck. This indicates that even advanced air defense systems are vulnerable when targeted with precision. None of this means Russia has no ability to defend itself. Russia has deployed significant electronic warfare capabilities. These systems can interfere with drone navigation and communications. Analysts have documented numerous cases where electronic warfare has forced drones to crash or lose effectiveness. Russia has also employed decoys and has attempted to make targeting more difficult by dispersing its logistics infrastructure. However, these measures have limitations. A recurring theme in assessments by Western experts is that modern warfare favors the side that can adapt faster. Ukraine's rapid innovation in drones and long-range precision strikes suggests that it is continually seeking ways to overcome these defenses. Another critical element of the precision ecosystem is intelligence. According to public statements by Western officials, satellites operated by the United States and European countries provide imagery that can help identify Russian movements. Maritime patrol aircraft and other surveillance assets monitor activity in the Black Sea and along the front lines. Ukraine has integrated commercial drone footage, ground-based sensors, and Western data to build a near real-time picture of the battlefield. Analysts describe this as one of the most sophisticated intelligence sharing arrangements in any modern conflict. The psychological effect of precision warfare is also significant. Russian soldiers and military bloggers have posted messages indicating anxiety about long-range strikes. Independent researchers monitoring these channels have noted that some commanders feel pressure to constantly relocate their headquarters. While it is impossible to know the mindset of every soldier, these documented accounts suggest that the perception of vulnerability is widespread. Precision strikes create uncertainty. They make it difficult to know which location is safe, and even the possibility of a strike can influence Russian decision-making. Up to this point, we have focused on Ukraine's use of precision. But to understand the real significance of this shift, it is important to consider how precision fits into the broader history of warfare. For most of the 20th century, military power was measured by quantity. Armies, artillery, tanks, and aircraft were counted in numbers. Precision existed, but it was rare and expensive. In the early 21st century, advances in GPS technology, sensors, software, and miniaturized electronics made it possible to build precision-guided systems that were far more affordable. Analysts note that the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan accelerated this trend. But the scale of precision warfare in Ukraine is different. It is happening against a major military power with extensive air defenses. It is happening in contested airspace. And it is happening at a pace that experts say is shaping the future of military doctrine. There's also a broader strategic dimension. According to well-regarded defense economists, precision warfare puts pressure on countries that rely heavily on massed equipment. This includes Russia, which inherited Soviet-era military doctrine. Precision disrupts supply chains. It forces militaries to invest in expensive countermeasures. It makes large concentrations of equipment vulnerable. And it often requires changes in organizational culture, something that analysts argue can be difficult for large institutions. Ukraine's ability to integrate Western ISR with domestic innovation has attracted global attention. Several Western military officials have publicly stated that they are studying how Ukraine's use of drones and precision weapons could influence their own doctrines. There is growing interest in developing networks where drones, satellites, artillery systems, and manned aircraft share data instantly. This is often referred to as a kill chain. Ukraine has demonstrated that a fast kill chain can neutralize high-value targets that might otherwise be protected by distance or air defenses. Russia is not the only country watching this closely. China, NATO members, and several Asian countries have all expressed interest in the lessons from Ukraine. They are examining how quickly drones can be built, how precision missiles can be integrated into existing structures, and how intelligence sharing can strengthen an entire alliance. This raises an important point. Precision is not just about the tools. It is about the ecosystem that allows those tools to be effective. Analysts emphasize that precision requires accurate intelligence, timely decision-making, and coordination across multiple units. It also requires the ability to adapt. Ukraine's drone industry expanded rapidly because the war created immediate incentives for innovation. This environment produced new designs, new tactics, and new strategies at a pace rarely seen in military history. Russia has its own drone programs and precision systems, but analysts argue that Ukraine's decentralized approach has allowed it to innovate faster. There is also a human element. The engineers, technicians, analysts, and drone pilots who operate this ecosystem are part of the weapon. Their ability to interpret data, adjust tactics, and respond to Russian actions is crucial. According to interviews with Ukrainian officials and reporting from international journalists who visited drone facilities, many of these individuals learned on the job. They combined civilian drone experience with wartime requirements to produce effective systems quickly. This blend of civilian and military expertise is something analysts say has become one of Ukraine's core advantages. All of these factors point to the same conclusion that many experts have discussed. The weapon Russia fears most is not a single missile or drone. It is the precision ecosystem. The combined effect of intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, long-range weapons, unmanned systems, software integration, and rapid innovation. It is an ecosystem that continually evolves, challenging Russia's ability to predict where and how strikes will occur. This does not mean the outcome of the war is predetermined. Analysts caution that wars are complex and influenced by political, economic, and social factors far beyond technology alone. Russia retains significant military resources and has also adapted in several areas. But the rise of precision has undoubtedly shaped the battlefield in ways that are difficult to ignore. It has forced Russian commanders to rethink logistics. It has compelled Russia to invest heavily in electronic warfare. It has influenced the deployment of Russian forces, and it has demonstrated to the world that the ability to strike accurately can have strategic effects far beyond the cost of the weapon itself. Looking ahead, the future of warfare will likely involve even more precision. Western nations are increasing production of guided munitions. Ukraine is expanding its domestic capabilities. Artificial intelligence is being integrated into targeting systems, although reputable experts and governments emphasize strict oversight. Drones are becoming more autonomous, sensors are becoming more capable, and the battlefield is becoming more transparent as satellite technology continues to improve. Analysts argue that this transparency is a defining characteristic of modern war. When movements can be observed from space, when drones can scan large areas, and when data can be shared instantly, the value of stealth decreases and the value of precision increases. Understanding this dynamic helps explain why precision has been such a powerful force in this conflict. In the end, the idea that a single weapon could change the course of a major war is outdated. What matters now is the system, the network, the integration. This is why so many analysts argue that the weapon Russia fears most is not a missile or a drone, but the entire precision ecosystem that makes every high-value target vulnerable. It is a weapon made of intelligence and timing as much as technology. It is a weapon that adapts, and it is a weapon that is likely to influence global military strategy for years to come. This is the new reality of warfare, and it is one the world is only beginning to understand.